We are learning our Chaim Vital today. Baruch Hashem, we did a little small piece on Sharei Mitzvot, a very important piece. Just to add to what we did on Sharei Mitzvot today, another thing Rav Chaim Vital writes in Sharei Mitzvot is another big thing that helps the Hashrat, Ruach HaKodesh, and Ruach HaKodesh doesn't necessarily mean that you're speaking prophecies, or you're saying the future. Ruach HaKodesh means that you have a Ruach Shel Kedusha inside of you. Alright, you're in a very positive and holy and state of mind. So another thing that Rav Chaim Vital says, and in fact that besides for with the Simcha, which he goes into a couple of pages about it, but another thing he says that be very medakdik in Berakot HaNehenim.
What is that?
Always make sure to say the right bracha on the right food, and never to make bracha levatala, and to know be careful with the brachot you say. Every time you make a beracha, you're saying Hashem's name. Not Yud Kei obviously, but you're saying Shem Adnut, which is the second highest name. Okay, it's a name that cannot be erased. Right? So Chaim Vital says that Shem Hashem, when you say the brachot, so should we make 100 brachot a day? At least we should. Gorem Nashra Ruach HaKodesh. Okay, you should make your brachot out loud. And it's also a big sigula for Refuah Shlema to say Asher Yatzar out loud. Yeah, say it out loud. Okay, so Ve'od Tziba Acher, another reason we're in Shur 46. Ki gam im ha'adam ba'atzmo barina, even if a person himself is healthy and clean, chafetzu shemalbushav yeh mefuarim k'fi gdulato. He also wants his clothing, how he represents himself, to be clean and good too. So even if HaKadosh Baruch Hu created the world and he's perfect, what does he care what we do? But we're his malbushim. He reveals himself through us. What? So if Hashem wants, Hashem can be perfect all he is, but if we are not in a state of perfection, that also shows that the wearer of these clothing, Shalom, is not also. So we are striving to reach that level of perfection. V'lachen, therefore, Gama Sfirot. The Sfirot, the 10 emanations of Hashem from Keter until Malchut, Nir'in Kivyahu Chalushin. If we're not perfecting ourselves in Avodat Hashem and Mitzvot, if we don't do our job, then the Sfirot don't do their job. And the Sfirot don't do their job, and Hashem is not revealing himself, because that's the Teva he put in this world, that for the Sfirot to reveal themselves, it's connected to the Ma'asim of the Nishamot. The Nishamot are not doing their job, the Sfirot are not doing their job. The Sfirot are not doing their job. Kiviyachol, Hashem's presence is diminished in this world.
Say it again, from the beginning.
So we said, Atzilut Birei Tarasiya. Right. Inside Atzilut you have Kava Ein Sof.
Right.
Atzilut, which is the 10 Sfirot, is the Malbush of the Kava Ein Sof. On top of the Atzilut is the world of Bria, which is, we said, Olam HaNishamot. Right. If the Nishamot, which is us, are not doing our job, the Sfirot are not doing their job.
So we're not having a malbush now.
We are the malbush.
That's what I'm saying.
So we're by doing mitzvot, we're creating our own malbushim, right? That's why we ever realize we're really obsessed over our children. They should be always great, this, that, because they're our malbushim, right? Then they are compared to us. Our kids are our malbush. We're there in neshama. Like in Kabbalah, we say in Torah Hasod, when Tiferet and Malchut get their mochin from a state of immaturity to maturity, they go from Vak to Chabad. To get the Chabad, how do they get it? The Netzach and Hod Yesod of Chokhmah and Binah have to go inside of them.
Aliyat Man.
Huh?
Is that Man?
How? Where does the Tipa come out of? Your Yesod. Right? That's in the physical world. In the spiritual world, all the Netzach and Hod and Yesod go inside the world below. That means what the world below, it could be 10 Sfirot, but it's all worth only the Netzach and Hod and Yesod of the world above it. No matter how great the younger generation will be, it will only reach the ankles of the generation before it.
Isn't that Aliyat Man?
Yeah. So to get the Chabad, they have to first do Aliyat Man. And then they give Mad, understand? Mayim Dechurin, and then it goes inside. And once it goes inside, it grows. Okay, so too in this world, from what our parents feed us, we grow until you're old enough, right? But still you need your parents advice, and you have to respect. What's kibud avayim? Kedem is the constant shefa that your parents are giving you. That's why when a person's parent passes away, he doesn't rip on his right side, he rips on his left side, and he opens up his lev, his heart, because the lev is actually a materialization of the sphira of Binah. You understand? So when a parent is gone, a very big part of your mochin is gone. So therefore you have to turn already into something new. You understand? That's why you already have to be married, have children. When a yatom is a yatom, you have to have a lot of rachmanut for him. Why? He's missing so much of his chabad. And the Torah specifically commands, beware of the yatom.
Yeah.
Take care of the yatom. You be his abba. You understand? You take the abba's place. Take care of it. Give tzedakah to the yatom. Yatom. Yatom is otiyot met. Why is he considered met? He doesn't have an abba and ima. He doesn't have his chabad. Without a chabad, without a chukmah binah and da'at, without the head, what's the worth of the body? He has a head. But the spirituality in it to be mature is not there. Some people don't have a chabad even when they have parents. Why? They're all day working.
Cool. The parents.
Some from families, they're all day working and they don't have the power. But how do you give that chabad? It's not by learning Torah, having an interaction with your children. That's how you give them the chabad.
Relationship.
Right? And it's a constant relationship. Okay? So if you're not doing your job, the sphirot. So basically, right now I'm learning Torah, I'm mamshich chabad. If I'm not learning Torah, who's mamshich the chabad?
Your father.
Huh? But I have my job to do. You as a man have your job to do. You have to be in a constant state of mitzvot. Or you could always have to be thinking of mitzvot. I love Hashem, I fear Hashem, look at the world, this is Kadosh Baruch Hu's design. Of course, you say, oh, but it's hard. The Yetzirah is always making me think about other things. Well, you were trained to think like that. Because you grew up in shmutz. Train yourself to think otherwise. It's like a person who was smoking. I can't live without the cigarette. I can't live without. Suddenly he stops smoking for a year. Give him a cigarette.
He hates it.
How did he smoke this, right? Yeah. The same thing over here. It's an acquired addiction. So to hirhurim ra'im. It's an acquired addiction. Okay? It's acquired. It's not something that's natural. Your neshama is naturally wants Hashem. Naturally. He wants it. It's his source. Like a fire, when he sees a big flame, the fire always wants to go back to the actual ball of fire, right? You always go up. Fire always goes up. You ever see fire go down? Never. Understand? Let's continue. So, when we're the Nivraim, we're our Tikkun, we don't give the power to Kiviyachol HaKadosh Baruch Hu. V'zeu tnu'oz Elohim. That's what it means. You have to give power to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Yisrael asher b'cha yitpar. Israel, within you I will have my pe'er, my grapes, my beautification. Now we understand why Hashem created us. We are the completion of His eminence. Because of these reasons, therefore God created man one. He includes in him all the beings in the world. That's how he was able to give their names. If he didn't have a piece of that animal and that animal and that animal inside of him, then he couldn't give him a name. To give something its name, you have to be included of it first. Very powerful message he's saying to us right now. And that's why only a parent could give a name to his children. So when you ask the rabbi, what name I should give, he can give you advice. At the end of the day, only the parent could give the name, because only the parent gave birth to the child. But Nitzalim, the kosher, look at it, you're kosher kol olamot. You are the tie, you are the connection, you are the bridge of all the olamot. Not an angel, not an animal, nothing. You, a human being, the Israeli, you are the bridge of all the olamot. At tehomad ha'ara, until the tahom, until the greatest depth of this world, until the klipa. Your soul is actually closer to God than the 10 sefirot. Therefore, when you do tikkunim, when you do mitzvot, when you do maasim tovim, learn Torah especially, tefillah, like we talked about on Shabbat, yamshich hashefa mina 10 sefirot elav. Then you will bring the shefa of the 10 sefirot to yourself. So first you become a merkava to the 10 sefirot. Umimenu ela malachim. Then the angels feed off of you. Not you feeding off of them. You're their source. Umehen elakali. Then the klipot suck off the angels. So first is the kava and sof. 10 sfirot. You, angels, klipa. Atzilut, Biriya, Yitzira,
Asiya.
כדי שיתוקן מהם מה שאפשר להתברר, because also with the klipa there's kedusha. So by them getting the shefa from the malachim, they're getting fixed. כמו שהתברר בעניין היצר הרע. That's why Jews have an Erev Rav. What's the Erev Rav? Erev Rav is our klipa. That means until all those Erev Ravs don't finish their tikkun, that means sometimes you find the greatest rasha of them, suddenly he becomes a religious Jew. That was their good nitzots. Right? Like before we blow the shofar, we start to say, Lav Natseach Livnei Korach. Who the heck wants to talk about Korach before we blow the shofar? What is Korach doing before the shofar? Lav Natseach Livnei Korach. Why before we blow the shofar, we talk about Korach? Look what one Hirhur Tshuva did for them. They're all over Tehillim. Shmuel HaNavi is their descendant. Because they were the good. So until the Erev Rav don't get a tikkun, Mashiach will not come. Because the nitzotzot are not finished. Okay? ומהן אלו העולמות עצמן שהם הכלים הגופאים של כל העולם. And the klipa gives shefa to the physical world. That means you're sitting in this seat right here. You're a godly soul. I mean, you're mamash. You're higher than a malach. You understand? Release the schnitzel. ואם חס ושלום יחטא, make the עבירה, מקלקל כל העולמות, you ruin all the עולמות, you clog the drain, and if you clog the יסוד, שבת שלום. ואין יתבהר צורך בריאת האדם בעולם השפל, בגוף ובנפש וביצירתו ויצר הרע. Now we understand the reason of the creation of man, יצר הרע and יצר הטוב. Let's try to finish the chapter, guys. Another reason why God created the Yetzer Hara. Listen, Abraham. Ki muchrachu, first line, or page Sadik. Ki muchrachu, b'riyato b'adam lo lidbarim v'lechol hakol v'chuchi muchrachu b'tahara. A human being must bring children, and he must eat, and he has to use the bathroom chutz mikvodchem, and he has to be b'tahara. וגם הוא מוכרח לכל עולם ועולם להמשיך השפע המתגשם בהם. And you also have to bring life to the physical world. That means if you have to bring life to the physical world, you also have to be physical. לצורך הכלים שמות עצמם, for the kelim, for the vessels, which are the actual words, and if it wasn't for the vessels, and if it wasn't for the materialism, לא יתקיימו הכלים, there wouldn't be a vessel. כי הם דקים מהם והם עצמם מכלל מדרגות הבריאה ואין זימו. So if it wasn't for a Yetzer Hara, you wouldn't have a Kli. If it wasn't for a Kli, then you wouldn't have a world. You wouldn't have a Shefa. So you need the Yetzer Hara. It's mukhrach. Because the Yetzer Hara is what keeps this world going. Like the Gemara says, Masechet Yomah, they closed the Yetzer Hara's eyes. The next day a chicken didn't lay an egg. Imagine going out in the world seeing a woman like you would see a man. Imagine you would have no Yetzer Hara. Crazy, was it? What is it? Some tzaddikim have that level, by the way. There was some tzaddikim, they would stand on the outside of the mikveh, like Rabbi Yochanan. There was one rabbi in the Gemara, he took the woman on his shoulder and started dancing to the rabbi. Oh, what are you doing, rabbi? It's a piece of wood for me. It's like nothing. David HaMelech had that level until he asked for the test. He fixed it though. So that means we need the Yetzer Hara. It's hechrech. ונמצא כי הצורך שאדם יהיה מורכב מכל העולמות, therefore you have to be filled with all the עולמות שיסייעו במעשיו להמשיך השפע לו ולהם to help him, to give him a שפע, כי הם לבדם אין כוח בידם להמשיכו. You yourself don't have the power to bring the שפע unless you are included in the שפע, which is also includes this world. This world is a שפע. This is a שפע. This is a שפע. Right? This is a שפע. לכן, כשאדם חוטא, גבריאל, when a person does an עבירה, כל העולמות מתקלקלים. It's like you're messing yourself up. You're messing the worlds up. It's in the world. So a person shouldn't be upset.
own-
How come I don't have parnasa? This, that. What do you know what you did in your life? You're Adam Yisraeli. You have a lot of responsibility. You understand? You can't be upset. Do a tikkun.
When it says messing your world, is it your own words or everybody else's words?
All your worlds from
Right.
Asiyah to Atzilut.
But personal world, not anybody else's
And
world.
all those people that are connected to your neshama. So let's say you're sleeping at night, you have such a great day with Hashem, suddenly at night, you have such a yetzer hara, I don't know where it came from, it's just driving you crazy. Your niktotzot are probably doing shtuyot right now. They're putting poison in your shefa. Take it out, man! So you're making a kid cool, but listen, but on the other hand, now you're learning Torah, you're causing hundreds of people not to do shtuyot. Look at it like that too. You leave the shiur, you're back to but they gotta keep that. It's a guitar, I'm telling you. Hidurim Ra'im, the Gemara says, Em mitzad behin. You can't be safe from them. You can't. It's tough, but it's the greatest avodah, huh?
When you're learning Torah.
When you're learning Torah, for sure. The Yetzirah can't touch you when you're learning Torah. When you're b'chabura, for sure, you won't touch
What
you.
about when you're praying? Tefillah.
That's when he comes to the highest.
Amen.
That's when he's the highest coming to you. Like it's the world of Binah. Tefillah is Binah. Binah is Esh. It attracts all the,
Praying
you know?
alone.
Especially when you pray alone, especially, yeah. Okay, Onesh, you Shefa, Atzma, Yan Los You. And Chas Shalom, the world's getting Onesh because of you. Vaven Ze Meod. So therefore you gotta pay for it. וזה סוד הרשעה כולה, ואתם תכלה להיות הקליפות סיבת החטא יותר מכל שאר, לכן עונשם גדול. Therefore Hashem is gonna smite the klipot at the end. The klipot. Smite them.
Why?
Why? Because they're the cause that all the olamot don't get the shefa. You understand? Ha'olam hato, but the good in them, they have a good in them. Sometimes a rasha has a tzaddik son. It needs to come out. עליו נאמר, ואהבת את השם אלוקיך בכל לבבך בשני יצריך. Therefore you have to love God with two yetzers. How do you love God with yetzer hara? So sometimes when the yetzer hara comes out good things too. It's not for us to choose that path. That was Adam HaRishon's sin according to Leshem Shov Achlama. He wanted to know what it is to serve Hashem with a yetzer hara. The Leshem Shov Achlama is a very deep thing. He goes on it like that's what he wanted to do. How to serve God with an evil inclination. What does that mean? The yetzer hara is a yitzot tov. He was curious to know what that felt like. And instead, don't say it's great.
That's a big
You
test.
also wanted it. You were in him. We all wanted, except for the Ziyara Ilah, Yusuf HaTzadik, Yusuf HaNaniah. You see those pink books over there?
Yeah.
The Ritva? He was not an Adam HaRishon during the sin, says the Ari. The Ritva. He wasn't inside. He was one of those Neshamot, the
There's
Ritva.
new souls,
Yeah, he
yeah?
was one of the new souls, the Ziyara Ilah.
Wait, question for you. You say everything that God created, He created in the 7 days, in the 6 days, on the 7th
When
day.
I say it wasn't in him, they were in him.
But they
Right
were
before he
apart.
made the Avera, Parfum Mimeno.
They left him.
They left him. They didn't want any part of it. So they were a makif on top of him, and they didn't enjoy from the inside out.
They weren't involved in it.
By the way, the biggest time we're mitaken the etzadat 3 times a year. Sharei Galim, which is the Sukkot is really a continuation of Yom Kippur and Rosh Hashanah. So it's really one big holiday. So basically the whole month of September. That's when we fix the Gvura. And then we have Pesach and Srata Omer, that's when we fix the Chesed, and 1 night of Shavuot, that's the Tiferet. You understand? So during those 3 times of the year, the Ari says it's a very big tikkun for Chet Adam HaRishon. Especially in Rosh Hashanah, it's the beginning of the year.
Yeah.
So therefore, it's not a time for frivolousness, drinking that day, ala esh. It's a time, yeah, Tehillim. By the way, I'm gonna say you guys the Sigula, but whoever finishes 2 books of Tehillim on Rosh Hashanah, 2 books by yourself.
2 books meaning
2 books. Yeah, first book on the first day, second book on the second day.
2 times.
Yeah, 2 times. And if you could do 2 books on the first day, just on the first day, it's a very big tikkun.
What's the book?
The whole book, yeah, 150 chapters. So 150 times 2, 300.
The rabbi that you sent all the time with the
I mean,
guy,
Bitterman.
right? He said
One of
you
the
can-
greatest tzaddikim,
You
yeah.
can split it with the family and you can finish it.
He said you could split it with the family. We did that last year.
He's like,
Samantha is like
Let's finish the paragraph.
100 chapters in 200.
כי גם יצרה, this is the chiddush. The Yetzirah also needs a berur. The Yetzirah also needs to get his mitzotzot out. Ach hapsolet, but Avram, the psolet, what you let out, the psolet, hu mukhrach liot ra, it's ra. Yeah, you can't have mercy on the ra. עליו נאמר, כי נדוב עשן מפני... איזה פסוק. So we're going to end over here. We'll finish the Next week is going to be our last shiur before Rosh Hashanah. And we're going to finish the chapter, B'ezras Hashem. And we're going to start Sharei Shlishi, how to get prophecy.
After Rosh Hashanah.
Yeah. That's now we all be reading the book of life, we try the book of life, bracha, v'atzlacha, parnasa tova, yeshua gdolot, zivugim agunim, B'ezras Hashem yitbarach. Talmud Torah keneged kulam. May we take our shiur with us.